Hi, I'm Ryan with Propelio, and today we have Blake Johnson with Finishing Touches. He's going to share with us his thoughts on picking the right contractor. Blake, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little about yourself, a little about Finishing Touches, how to begin, how did you get into the business?
Well, we started the business almost 17 years ago with just a vision and not really a whole lot else. I was a handyman starting out and kind of just working my way up the chain, and started working with homeowners and realized very quickly that I didn't have the patience to work with homeowners, that I was much more suited for a faster paced environment where we could move a lot quicker. So I started working for investors back in the day. Then I found that niche and basically just kind of stuck with it and said, we're cutting homeowners out, because again, I didn't have the patience, and we moved forward into transitioned, and now we strictly only work with investors, and we've been working with investors for close to 16 years now.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. So say I'm a new investor. I watch a lot of TV shows. There's thousands of them on the air right now. And I'm watching one of these shows. You know what? I could do that. I buy a new house, and I'm just going to do all of the work myself. Why should I call you or call another general contractor when I can just do it myself?
Well, that's a great question. You completely can do it yourself. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Other than the fact of you're not an investor then, you're a handyman working on a house. An investor can distinguish the difference between working on the home and working on a business. And you're trying to build a business and you're a real estate investor. You're not trying to do one or two things around a house and trying to do a homemade fixer-upper. So the money you're going to try to save by doing it yourself, you're going to end up spending in downtime and additional funding costs and financing, as opposed to just hiring somebody to come in and do it in, say, 4 to 5 weeks. We do it in 4 to 5 weeks. You may take 3 to 4 months, and you're going to have a lot of additional expenses. I like to refer to it a lot as jumping over a dollar chasing a dime, Ryan.
That's an excellent point, and you see it all the time. So I believe you. I need a GC. Where do I start? Do I pick up a phone book? Do those even exist anymore? I'm not really sure. How do I find or pick the right GC? Where do I even start?
Regarding the phone book, I'm not really sure. In fact, ironically, I was at an appointment yesterday and I saw a MAPSCO, and I haven't seen one of MAPSCO in years. Completely off topic.
Yeah.
But so to answer your question that's where you rely heavily on the network that you build, the importance of going to the investor, the meetup groups, going to any function you can, whether it's a seminar, whether it's an expo, going to these different places, getting yourself plugged in and learning who in the community is working within the community. I get people all the time that call that say, hey, do you go to Houston or the surrounding areas? And my answer is no, we can't go that far currently. My advice would be to find a local investor meetup group and start getting connected with those people. And that's where you can really start to learn and find out who's working with investors.
So outside of networking, how can I determine if Finishing Touches, Blake Johnson, is reputable? What kind of questions should I be asking you over the phone to see if I should be, okay, these are legit people and I need to be working with them?
The best thing that I would say is I get that call about once a week. Mm-hmm. And my answer to that question now is, why don't you just come by the office and talk to us? Come by the office and talk to us, or I will give you addresses and you can go check out houses that we currently have in production. And then we basically, our website has a lot of information, but if you're really trying to find, again, I'm going to go back to the network, and the people in the community that are working the community are going to be able to give you the best advices, who's working for who and how they work, their pitfalls, and just get to know them. And if you're an out-of-state investor and don't have the ability to come meet them, then you're going to rely heavily on what little bit of network you have and probably go through an interview process over the phone. I even had a client fly in from California last week and had 3 different interviews with 3 different contractors. It's a great idea. You get to come into Dallas, check out the Metroplex, and schedule appointments with the vendors you're trying to build your network with. Because at the end of the day, you're building a team.
Right. So this may be the same question, but just worded a little bit different. What should I be looking for? I know I just asked you what should I ask, but like if I do meet with you and I do see these houses, what are some like light bulbs like, oh, that right there, I need to work with this guy?
I think, Ryan, to answer that question is, let's take it a step further and talk about when we're actually physically interviewing and or discussing with the guy or company. I think the biggest thing is going to be being quiet and listening. You know, anytime you're interviewing, it's always good to listen as opposed to just being the one talking. Listen to what that contractor has to say, meaning if he strictly, so I'll give you an example. Let's say that you go to you meet this contractor at a house and you walk in and you say, okay, here's this house, I'm under contract, I'm set to close in 2 weeks. Okay? And then you say, what do we need to do? If that contractor cannot answer the questions and can't take you through those steps, then what you need to consider doing is looking for someone else. Because here's the reality. If you're new to investing and you're new to the construction side of things, you don't know what you want. You're looking for someone to help guide you and navigate you through that process. And if that person can't do it and take you through the process and hold the hand for you, then you're set up for failure from the beginning. You need a person that's going to be able to guide you and say, okay, so what's the home worth? How much is it going to be worth when it's fixed up? Once we know how much it's worth, then we can start establishing a roadmap, if you will, because now I know the destination. I can create the roadmap. I don't need you to tell me what we're going to do to the house. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do, and then me and you can collaborate together to customize and tailor the scope of work to fit your needs.
So it sounds like there's like a huge amount of trust there.
Yeah. That's right.
Quick and simple. Well, to build on that, you just said like a huge red flag of walking the property, and if the contractor you're meeting with can't answer those questions, you should probably run for the hills. What are some other red flags that you should be watching out for?
If they are asking you, what do you want to do?
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, well, what do you want to do in here? Well, if you're new to investing and you're new to construction, you don't know what to do. So you're kind of looking for someone to advise. And kind of to go back to your trust issue, you're trusting but verifying. So you're going back and you're working the network through the community. I mean, reputation speaks volumes. If you've got a company with a track record of, say, 5 to 6, 10 years, there's some longevity there. But if you haven't really heard from this company and other people don't know them, then we need to be a little bit more careful. And you may even consider paying a little bit more to a higher priced general contractor that's a larger outfit just to get your feet wet and learn the process before you try to start scaling down and saving those dollars.
On that note, just to give Blake a little bit of plug, he won't say it, but I'll say it for him. Finishing Touches is the go-to general contractor for investors in the DFW marketplace, and that's why he's here. But you need to find a Blake Johnson in your network, in your marketplace. Let's skip to pricing real quick, because it seems like whether I'm getting foundation done, a roofing done, any aspect of the job done, you get one quote for $10,000 and one quote for $75. Is that a determination in picking a contractor, a general contractor, or is that just how it is?
I honestly, you should, I'm going to go against kind of what I preach a little bit here.
Okay.
When you're first getting started, it's probably best to go out and get 3 estimates, even though I disagree. You only need 1, and that's ours. But
I would agree.
But it's not going to hurt. So I'll use this example. When we're doing foundation work, if I send two of our foundation contractors out and they're very far off, I'm not going to send a third. I'm going to send a third-party engineer and tell me what needs to be done. So I'm not going to waste any more time from someone else. So what you may need to do is have a mentor or somebody here that can help you support. If you get one estimate that's 8,000 and one that's 15, that's pretty far apart. The truth is probably going to be in the middle somewhere. Mm-hmm. So we've got to figure out where the discrepancies are. Now, if you're comparing a 9-page estimate and a 3 to 2-page estimate, there's a huge problem there, and we need to start really digging down into why they're so far apart. Mm-hmm. And chances are the 9-page estimate's extremely detailed with a lot of information and a lot of explanation, and the other one is very vague, which leaves yourself susceptible to problems down the road.
So what I heard in that, what you just said was, I need to find a reputable general contractor so I don't have to worry about those quotes, because you just said that you're going to be doing those quotes for me.
Right. In fact, honestly, I get this a lot from engineers. They create this elaborate scope of work and these Excel spreadsheets, and they do all this stuff. And in reality, for when you work with us or a contractor that works exclusively with investors, we should be able to create that scope of work for you and then have you just add your little details to it.
Mm-hmm. So let's go back to working with a new investor. What's something or some things that you wish new investors would know before calling you? Not that you don't enjoy those phone calls and teaching them over the phone or even walking the property, but what are a couple of things that you just wish they would know inherently before even calling you in regards to working with a general contractor?
I think honestly it's pretty basic stuff, like understanding the verbiage in construction. And I mean, as simple as understanding what a draw schedule is and how the draws are paid and your role as the client in the draws, and interim financing, what style of interim financing are you going with? And when you go that direction, how is the money going to be dispensed to your contractor? Mm-hmm. And again, I mean, you're going to hear me say it over and over, and repetition is the only way that we learn, is get plugged in early. You know, when I get phone calls quite often where the person says, I'm just getting started and I need to know where to begin. You begin by getting plugged into the network, into your community, and learn those. Start just talking, just meeting people and starting to learn, and then you'll immediately start becoming a sponge, and everything will just start, you'll be absorbing.
Okay.
And that's probably the best way.
So other than the verbiage, what would you say is your biggest challenge in working with the investors? Or new investors, I should say. Or old investors, whatever biggest challenge I would say.
The biggest challenge, and I'm probably going to repeat this again, is going to be getting too personally attached to the property. I have stickers I printed. I wish I had one here for you today. The stickers read, it's not your house, it's your investment. And the reason why I try to focus on that is so many of our newer clients get so focused on, they saw that barn door on HDTV and now they have to have a barn door, or they have to do whatever the hottest, latest, greatest thing is, or maybe you just completely remodeled your personal home and now you want to take some of those same things that you remodeled in your personal home, let's say a $300,000 house, but you want to plug it into a $150,000 house. It doesn't make sense, it doesn't match, but your emotions are attached to the property because it's a financial obligation that you've made, and we've got to remove that, we've got to strip it down, and we're solely focused on doing what's best for the property that the comps will support and making you the most ROI.
So basically, pick your box and stick to it?
That's what we've done. Our business model is we have a box and we do not do anything outside that box. If the house is over, say $550,000 ARV, we're not the right guy. Mm-hmm. And people say, why would you turn down that's a $130,000 remodel? Or that's here's how it's worded. They say that's a $130,000 rehab. I said, no, it's not. If it's a $500,000 house, that's not a $120,000 rehab, that's a $120,000 remodel. We're not a remodeling company, we're a rehabbing company.
Got it.
That's our box.
What would be the difference for the layman?
At a $500,000 price point, you're dealing with a very discerning buyer. Mm-hmm. The rehabs are going to take longer. They're larger. The budgets are larger. Everything just takes longer, and we're a production.
So basically, a remodel will be like, I want that wall purple, and a rehab is you're getting eggshell?
Yeah. And something else to consider too is if you're doing those larger rehabs, the remodels, you need to be looking for a company that does that specifies in remodeling, not rehabbing. There is some smaller guys that do, 25 houses a year that do the big ARVs. That's who you need to be focusing on. You don't want to be focusing on that when we're doing the production. When you're doing $150,000 the rental market, you don't need to have those custom guys in there. You need production.
Got it. Because you're an investor.
Right.
And you just want to turn and burn.
Right.
So to get back to picking the right general contractor for you, what would be the biggest takeaway that you could give? Like, what's the one-off that you could give to somebody? It's like, hey, this is what you need to focus on.
You need to focus, I would say, largely on, and again, I keep going back to it, is reputation in the marketplace, what the local people, the boots on the ground are saying, what price point. I mean, everybody knows, at the end of the day, you get what you pay for. You're going to pay for it on the front end or you're going to pay for it on the back end. So you'd rather know up front what you're paying for and know all in as opposed to being change ordered. And that's one thing you can also work on is to learn what the term change order. We try to avoid it at all cost. Mm-hmm. So we try to be as inclusive as we can, and so do you. So here's, the light bulb just went off. Here's the biggest takeaway. Let's say that you buy the house and you're trying to do a hurried start on the project, meaning you're in hard money, you're paying 15% and 2 points in interest, and you got to start right now. Guys, if you hurry that startup, it's going to be a slow finish. Take the time, go through the scope of work, even if it takes an extra 2 to 3 days to identify, and you understand the scope of work, your contractor understands the scope of work. Even if it takes another week, I'd rather it take a week and have a strong start than a weak finish, because the wheels come off the further down the project goes. So the best we can do is to start with the good wheels on and then roll forward. That's my biggest takeaway.
So I know you're really busy in the DFW marketplace. How does one work with you in finishing touches?
Just need to reach out to us. Just call us or email us and send us the address, the lockbox combination, how you heard about us, and we'll schedule an appointment. We'll call you from the property and discuss it. If you need to meet at the project, we can do that as well and walk you through that process.
Blake, thanks so much for coming in. We look forward to having you in the studio again.
Yeah.
If you like what you see, please click like, share, subscribe. I'm told that that's good for us. We'd love to see you see another video of ours. Also, coming soon, Blake Johnson Finishing Touches on the Flip or Flop, Fort Worth. Look forward to seeing that.
Yeah, we'll see you there.